Hi, everybody, and good morning on Thursday, the 26th of February, 2026. Hope your day is off to a great start. I am meteorologist Bob Maxon coming to you from the NBC Connecticut Storm Tracker Weather Lab. And we are happy to be with you. And thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this later in the day, thank you for checking out the replay. Why not? That's why it lives on social media, can live forever on different platforms like YouTube, Facebook Live, and the whole idea. So each and every morning we go through what's happening, like just a weather chat, if you will. And as the title says, a little bit of a weather breather. But being meteorologists, we're always on our toes, always sitting up straight and kind of on the edge of our seats all at the same time. Because the atmosphere does what the atmosphere wants to do, and all we can do is read the model data and look at the big picture, the hemispheric weather pattern, and what happens town to town. We have to break it down into the smallest minutia of meteorology. So it's thrilling, it's fascinating, and right now it's kind of quiet and nobody is complaining. Click up here, and good morning, David. Good morning, Linda. Let's talk weather. As we like to do, we start you off with the rundown, and the rundown goes like this today. Mostly fair weather through Saturday. There can be a little burst of some Sunday morning snow. We have conflicting information because we always have conflicting information because the models are very infrequently in concert with each other. So there's a chance of a little burst of snow, maybe an inch or two Sunday morning. It does turn colder, though, Sunday night into Monday and Tuesday, and that sets up the stage for a wintry mix at some point next week. There's a lot of moving parts, and that's something that we'll delve into, of course, as we always do here on our weather chat. So let's see what's going on. First up, we're going to talk about, I can't see what my next graphic is, and that's very disconcerting. So I'm going to lower that down there. Okay. Well, I need glasses. My eyes are tired. Since we have a little bit of a weather breather, let's take a moment and kind of look back at where we've been this winter season. First, we'll kind of, before we get into the graphics, let's just chat for a second. If you think about it, I think around Thanksgiving, before Thanksgiving, it was relatively mild. It was, sometimes late fall can be really pretty around here, but November I remember as being not very pretty. But I do remember playing golf a couple days before Thanksgiving. It seemed like right after Thanksgiving, the floor fell out of the temperatures. And December was, I believe, ended up being colder than normal. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. And then we just couldn't shake it. There was a 1 week in January where we called it the January thaw. Looking back, it wasn't very thaw-like. I mean, it was 40s. Even upper 30s and 40s, felt like a thaw. And then we went right back into the icebox, and this February is the coldest February in 11 years, going back to 2015. It's been cold, and we know it. It's been fairly sustained as well. So with all that cold, January's cold too, we know that. We've had plenty of snow. So with that said, I wanted to kind of visit some of the numbers that go along with this. Last winter, again, we did this yesterday, but I've updated the numbers. Barely 2 feet of snow. I mean, we're less than 2 feet of snow in late February. Pretty incredible how lame it was for snow lovers, and we all lived it. This winter now, after yesterday's clipper, we're at 52.3, which is a departure of more than a foot of considering what's normal over the last 30-year average, which ends on 2022. I'm sure we could probably figure out 1995 to 2025. Maybe that would be something maybe just slightly more appropriate, but this is how the National Weather Service does it. Oh, to date, 39.9. The 30-year average is 51 inches for the winter because we do get about 10 inches of snow in March. So far we're running about a foot above average, below. I just combined both words. About a foot above average to the date. Pretty significant. And then, as I mentioned on TV this morning, Bridgeport's been showing off. There's been more snow in Bridgeport than Windsor Locks, and I'd have to do a deep dive of research, try to figure out how many winters has Bridgeport out-snowed Windsor Locks. It was really close last year. I don't remember the exact number. But it's rare because the shoreline is closer to that thing called Long Island Sound and the Atlantic Ocean. And a lot of times when we get mixed precipitation, it happens at the shoreline much more often than inland. And, northern Connecticut is just generally colder. So usually mixed precipitation events produce more snow inland, but not this year. Bridgeport's running a couple of inches ahead of Bradley International Airport, which is considered the climate site for the Hartford area. Let's talk temperatures, because this has been just incredible. Again, a bit of a thaw over the last several days, but after the blizzard, it was obviously really cold Tuesday as far as compared to what's normal Monday and Tuesday. And even yesterday ends up being 8 degrees below average on average, because we were right down in the single digits and teens yesterday morning before that clipper came in. But the numbers are fairly impressive, including the 7th and 8th of February, when the 8th, it was on average 21 degrees below normal. That is really epic stuff as far as cold goes. And the month is averaging out 5.3 degrees below what's considered normal, 30-year average. And it is the coldest February since 2015. So no, your eyes and fingers and toes are not deceiving you. Your brain is not deceiving you. That's the way it's been. And it continues in that fashion, which is pretty amazing. Let's take a look at the radar this morning. We've been quiet. Clouds have given way to a nice amount of sunshine. We'll look at the satellite picture in a second. What I want you to see here, and what's probably most important, is that there is storminess, and it's not that far away. With rain across Virginia, North Carolina, near the nation's capital, and this is going this way. I'm not going to lie to you, though. There is actually one, we get a lot of data. There's one piece of data, it's called the SREF, the SREF, that takes this snow right through Connecticut. I'm selling on it, of course, because it's a lone wolf, but this should stay south of us too, but it's certainly worth watching. And we'll increase the clouds this afternoon, but most of our dependable model data takes this precipitation shield out to sea, in some cases just to our south and just south of Long Island. So it's always worth noting, always worth watching. And I can't believe how many people tune in every day. Thank you for doing this. I thank you for your trust and your questions and comments and belief. I think this is one great way of doing this, is that if I'm transparent here on the webcast, when you watch on TV or you're reading social media or streaming us on whatever service you use, we have more of a relationship. It's kind of cool to build after 115 years of broadcasting here in Connecticut. So there's your radar, and it shows that precipitation off to our south. We're in a nice little window of sunshine. There's lake effect snow and clouds up across upstate New York. They can keep that. You can see some of the clouds that we do expect it to come in here. See, the clouds make it in here, but it looks like that precipitation stays south. So it's not a spotless day, but it's not a problematic day. And with the sun out and the strong sunshine, we will go back into a melting process again today. We started the day with black ice. It was twofold. We had the clipper yesterday morning while we were on the on the webcast. Then we had temperatures that moved up to between 40 and 44 across most of the state yesterday. So what fell as 1 to 3 inches with an isolated 4-inch amount turned into slush, and then the slush turned back to ice. Plus we had melting snowbanks, and that turned back to ice because it was chilly last night, 25 to 30 for most overnight lows, a couple teens in there just for safekeeping. So we had the snow melt refreeze. And then in the middle of the night, a few rain and grapple and snow showers flew by. It was minimal. A couple hundredths of an inch, but it just added more moisture to the surface of the roads, and the temperatures were below freezing. So do the math. And it ended up being pretty slick this morning. Now there were I'd say more than a handful of crashes, and we're still actually getting reports. Route 2 is a mess, a terrible crash in Manchester, 384 and 84, like the interchange there. There were 2 on Route 2 that I remember. And I think was there one down like Basra this morning too. So yeah, there were crashes. And that's a problem, right? So black ice was the culprit in most of those cases. It could have been other things, but we know that the road conditions weren't ideal, and even the walking conditions weren't ideal. Now we're melting again, and we're going to refreeze tonight. So we have to keep that in the side of our cerebrum, is that it can be slick. Temperatures are rebounding. It was only 31 in Norfolk. That's why it's the icebox. It stays cold there. But we're already up to near 40 in Canton. I think many of us end up in the upper 30s to lower to possibly middle 40s today. I love our hometown temperature maps showing really the micro climates that we live in. 35 right now in Plainfield, 34 in Baltic. We're above freezing in Hebron. The sun feels nice. The breezes are light. It's really kind of nice outside. Maybe you want to go outside and do some cross-country skiing or snowshoeing or hit one of our ski areas. They're having a banner season. And that's really good news, right? We like it because they've had some lean years of late. I know I check my phone all the time. Okay, my wife just texted me about a topic that is not important right now. Temperatures are in the 30s to near 40. It's 39 in Madison. There's a little bit of high cloudiness along the shoreline, and that's where the clouds will come in first today. So we do have a little melting going on. Excuse me. Working my shift's not easy. 31 in Oxford, but it's 37 in Newtown, 37 in Fairfield, 40 in Wallingford, and 41 in North Haven. Oh, Robert. All right, so future radar shows that it's fair. The weather is fair today. I'm going to take this backwards because I have the power. I do have the power. Okay, so we got this little shield of clouds that'll come in from the west and move out. And that'll allow the temperatures to drop to some fairly cold levels tonight into tomorrow morning. I think some of us wake up close to 10. Uh-oh. I have no idea why I just got a case of the yawns. I'm actually excited to be here. I think I'm just exhausted. It's been a week. 10 to 20 for overnight lows tonight, so most of us fall into the teens. It's kind of a cool little area of clouds showing up on future radar. Look at that. Whoosh. Looks like a ghost, doesn't it? See what I'm looking at? Ooh. Are we having ghosts? Is that because Mars or Mercury's in retrograde? I'm hearing all these crazy things about. Ooh, that's cool. All right. So tomorrow's a sunny day. I don't like Friday. I love Friday. Sunny, pretty comfortable. Beautiful day. I have a plan for tomorrow afternoon. I'm not going to share it with you. I might share it with you. A few clouds around Saturday. Then this is where I believe the temperature can move up to some pretty nice levels. I'm going to take this back here. Hit play. Oh, wrong button. Hit play. Okay, now I can draw. My computer is fun. So if this is a setup, there's and I believe it is, there's a cool front. Nope. All right, I'll just say it's a little trough back here. And out ahead of it, the breezes come out of the south and southwest. If it's off land, 50 easy. If it's more off the water, mid to upper 40s. But I think it's going to feel really, 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 that was 3 reallys. Nice on Saturday. As I mentioned yesterday, I'll be at the Connecticut Special Olympic Winter Games in Windsor. Can't wait to see all the athletes and the supporters, the families, the coaches, and of course, all the great folks from Special Olympics. That'll be a lot of fun. That's cross-country skiing and snowshoeing. And let's just say they've been challenged meteorologically over the years, and it looks really nice Saturday. Maybe some fresh powder on Sunday. We'll see about that, and we'll dive into that in just a minute. All right, so that's your setup for Saturday, where I believe temperatures will be mild, and then we'll just bring some clouds in Saturday into Sunday. But wait a minute, what's that at the bottom of the screen? What is that little area of snow? Underdone, as you can see, and I believe that there could be something slightly more intriguing about Sunday morning's forecast. And we'll get into that in just a second. As I mentioned, we're going to clear it out tonight. And temperatures fall between 10 at Windsor Locks and 20 in New Haven, maybe 21 in Bridgeport, or 23 in Old Saybrook. It's going to be a chilly night tonight. And again, everything that melts will refreeze. Now, let's take a look at the setup for early next week, because gets a little bit interesting. Is that on Sunday, I think we could get just a little touch of snow. There seems to be some model consensus developing just to maybe an inch or two. It could end up going out to sea harmlessly or not even forming, but I think something happens late Saturday night and Sunday morning. Then cold high pressure builds in. Monday's high is only in the 20s. So, Saturday we're near 50, and Monday we won't crack 30. That's called March. That's March in New England. March can giveth, and March can taketh, and March can do weird things. Remember what I just said. High pressure builds in. And there's going to be, if you remember yesterday, for those of you that tune in on a regular basis, the jet stream is set up. Whoa, Bobby, too much caffeine. I just had a coffee. So that was a terrible analysis of the jet stream. It's like this. And it's way too what we call positively tilted to create some mega storm. That's when we need a negatively tilted upper level low. This is just kind of a quick, weak systems can zip by. With the high in control, Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, Monday, it looks like initially it's going to deflect a system out to sea to our south. Now, it's not that easy. Things can change. But this system, which is going to produce snow in the Midwest, looks like it goes harmlessly out to sea. But that's only system number one. And as I'll show you, there's another one that forms right behind it along a real important thermal gradient between us, cold, and very warm out in the plains and in the Midwest. So along that thermal gradient, things can get and usually do get interesting. So we'll take a look at my favorite. Since everybody always asks, this is my favorite computer model. I love it and I depend on it. It's my pal, and it is the European forecast model. And I don't believe that the GFS is really that bad. I just like to mess with you guys who like to wonder about stuff like that. I'm just goofing around. Here is Friday tomorrow. Beautiful sunshine, little ridge of high pressure in control. Okay. There's a little boundary that goes across northern New England that can come through here Saturday afternoon, but it's very weak. Along that same boundary, what is that coming across Lake Ontario? A little ripple of low pressure. Whenever I say ripple of low pressure, I always think of an old ice cream that you don't see very often anymore called Fudge Ripple, which was one of my favorites. Now I think they just call it chocolate or vanilla with chocolate fudge or something. But we used to call it Fudge Ripple. And this little ripple of low pressure comes right into New England Sunday morning. So that's why I've mentioned now 4 times that I think it could snow a little bit on Sunday morning. And we're also having a season where the hits hit and the misses don't miss. Right. The hits hit and the misses are infrequent. That's what I tried to say. All right, so there's that first little ripple of Fudge Ripple that can produce a little snow Sunday morning. I don't think it's a big deal, but it's there. All right, then here's the high pressure system. Let me just get to here. Okay, and here's the map I just showed you. I'm going to take it back. Stop. And here's the high pressure system that we were analyzing. So the high is in control. So what happens? The precipitation goes beneath us. See how that storm goes beneath us and goes out through the mid-Atlantic. So more snow for DC and maybe Delaware than here. But weather is always moving, okay? And we have to monitor it all the time. So let me just fix this. Hey, come on. I said okay, let me just do this. And now I can get rid of the high because the high does give way to more low. So watch. That ripple of low pressure goes by. Uh-oh, what'd I do? I broke something. There we go. And then here's another one. Ooh. That doesn't look very good, does it? One misses. And the next one hits. If the European model is sniffing this out correctly, it looks like mostly a Wednesday thing. Tuesday night and Wednesday, a wintry mix that, we'll be watching, always watching. This system here misses to the south, and then this system here creates some issues in the northeast. I'll tell you a quick story. We have a team member, a colleague at NBC 10 in Philadelphia. His name is Jason Godlick. Justin Godlick, and I met Justin last year, 2025, 2024. 2024, I met him at a conference. Great guy, great meteorologist, great broadcaster too. He has all the tools. And he put up a Facebook post today talking about a snowstorm for the Northeast. And someone from Connecticut commented on it saying, Bob Maxson said it was going to miss. And I looked at it, I said, wow, that's really weird to see that on a Philadelphia meteorologist's Facebook page. And what this person missed was that I said this one was going to miss. And then we were all on board for this potential Tuesday and Wednesday. So yes, there is one that misses Monday, but he was referring to this one on Tuesday or Wednesday. So I corrected this Connecticut viewer who also is a Justin fan and follows Justin. Had to correct him. I don't want someone putting bad information out about me. Okay, so that's the European model, and it shows that wintry mix that we've been discussing. Now some good news, and I mentioned a moment ago that sometimes March can be very weird. March mayhem. We're not probably allowed to use the other term because of the NCAA and college basketball, CBS Sports, right? They have that March thing for basketball, but I'm talking meteorology, and it's March mayhem. I want you to notice this map because it shows that by the middle of the month, there's a really strong signal of above average temperatures in the Tennessee Valley and the southeastern U.S. And that signal is now expanded east and north. So when I saw this morning, I said, well, I gotta look into this. What's some of the model data show? Now, I want to preface this by saying this may not happen. I believe we'll go above average. Remember, our average is 41 today and starts moving up 42, 43, 44 by the middle of the month. But what I'm about to show you are two medium range models that we use most often. It's the European, as I joked about moments ago, and the GFS. And they have their talents, right? They have their weaknesses. And one of the weaknesses is these meteograms is what they're called. And I never had access to these growing up because we didn't have data like this. The reason I bring this up is that they both go completely wonky during that time period of March 10th through the 15th, the Ides of March, Et Brute, Julius Caesar. This is what it shows, okay? Follow along with me. And I'm not saying this is going to happen. Notice the banner. This is not a forecast. This is an outlook. This is not written in stone. It's written in mud because that's what we would have if this were to occur. But follow. 38 today, 37 tomorrow, 45 to 50 on Saturday. We've talked about Saturday being mild. There's your cold snap, not the Sam Adams beer. Sunday into Monday, and then there's the wintry mix, and then there's next weekend, and then there's this incredible tower of power that may or may not happen. A bunch of pieces would have to fall into place. But our eyes don't deceive us, right? This is model data. We depend on model data for one-day forecasts. And why not look at it as an outlook for 10 days, 12 days, 14 days, which is exactly what that is, 14 days. If this happens, there's going to be trouble. Isn't that a song? There's gonna be trouble. If we go from the 30s and 40s and maybe the 50s, which is a slow, consistent melt of our snowpack, which in Connecticut is obviously the deepest we've had consistently for months now. I was looking at my yard and you can actually distinctly see the two storms. The big whopper where at my house we had 22 inches. And then my house, we got gypped in the blizzard. We got about 12 inches. So I got 22 compressed and 12 on top, and they're two totally different colors. Maybe you're experiencing that too at your house. When you snow blow, you can see the sandwich, the storm sandwich, or the layers, the club sandwich. Oh, I'm hungry now. But all that's going to melt. And if this were to happen, that's model data, almost 80 degrees. Now, that's happened before in March. If it happens this March, hear me now and remember me in 2 weeks. This would not be good, okay? I'm not going to hype it up. I'm not going to get too crazy about this because I don't think it'll happen to this extent. But if it does, it's big trouble. Inside our snowpack is, and I haven't done a sample, but there's always moisture locked in snow, right? Snow is made of water. If we were to melt it super fast, and what if there was a rainstorm associated with it? So you'd be adding water plus melting snow plus take a drive by your area river, Farmington, Connecticut, Housatonic, maybe the Yantic. Haven't been over there. Quinnebog, the Shetucket, Quinnipiac. I know I'm missing some, but you get the idea. My concerns would be mostly for the Housatonic and the Connecticut. And the Farmington too, because there can be flooding there. Ice jam flooding can happen and probably will. The ice is super thick. I mean, we have people on this feed that live along the Connecticut River, and they're like, it's really thick, like 13, 15 inches thick. Well, that doesn't melt as fast as the snow does. And when it cracks and the water starts rising, it turns into an ice jam. If this happens, it ain't going to be pretty. It ain't going to be pretty. Let's hope it doesn't. Right now, we're going to say a little prayer and say, let's hope. I mean, I know on the surface, it's like, ooh, 70s. No, we don't want that. We'll take 50s in March. Let's get rid of the snow. If it happens, we have an epic mud season, which would, of course, as it always does, turn into the brush fire season. But I think flooding along our rivers would be a guarantee, and it would be bad. Remember, 70s here, could be 60s in the mountains where they even have more snow. Vermont, New Hampshire, more snow. You know, my family's in central New York. We have way more snow on the ground now than they do, at least away from the Great Lakes. My sister in Ithaca probably has bare ground. But my brother, I'm sure they're still dealing with the melting lake effect snow up in Oswego. So there's your 10-day forecast. And it's unsettled. Tuesday and Wednesday, something will happen. Does it look epic? No. The jet stream doesn't support a big like whopper low and another blizzard, okay? Social media will tell you it's the end of the world. No, it's going to be a nasty wintry mix. It'll be kind of gross for probably an 8 to 10 hour period at some point Tuesday or Wednesday. It's not the end of the world. And then another wave of low pressure. It's milder with showers Friday and Saturday. Next Saturday night, you know what we do? We spring ahead. Feels early, but I'm 99% sure that I'm accurate with that assessment. It's the 8th. Yeah, March 8th, we spring ahead. 7th and the 8th, yeah. How about that? That's crazy. So we get those late, early evening sunsets, and it's dark again in the morning, which really, does that make sense? put the kids out to the bus stop and it's dark. Okay, there's your 10-day forecast. I love what I see Saturday, and I think that snow on Sunday could end up being a little bit more impactful. Not in the amount of inches, but the timing, maybe an inch or 2 or 3. So don't hold me to it. We'll get more data and we'll look at it. Okay, I answer some questions now. And this is usually where the feed becomes an hour and a half because there's a lot going on. And by the way, as a side note, the UConn men crushed St. John's last night. Wow, what a showing. March Mayhem, it's right around the corner. Coach Hurley has those guys playing well. Hello, Linda. Hello, Greg. Bob, any comments? The polar vortex split. Oh, hi, Steve. I'm streaming. I forgot to put the thing on. Steve Glazier comes in and says hello. And you know what, Steve? Let's do this. Let's put it on full screen. Oh, I always do this. I always mess up the Steve Glazier, ladies and gentlemen, joining. And how are you, sir? It's nice to see you. We never see each other anymore because
you had one handshake on air earlier this week. Right. Here's another one.
Exactly. How are things going?
It's going great. The sun's out. It's 39 degrees. Feels like summer.
I know. The melting is well. We had black ice this morning, so the melting's key.
Yeah, I know that those mornings so tricky. You just never know what moisture enough moisture in the air if it's going to make it icy. Or if it's just dry and just cold.
I know. But I think we rinse and repeat it again tomorrow morning. But what brings you in today? You're on a climate change story.
Yeah, we're going to a hydroponic farm, which I'll get caught up on exactly what that is, in New Britain. From what I know, walls of lettuce and mostly, well, we'll see what else is there. But I know at least lettuce, equivalent of 45 acres. Mm-hmm. So grown in a kind of a smaller space, saving a ton of water. So we're going to go out.
It's going to blow your mind.
Cool.
Okay. I've been there.
Okay.
About 5 or 6 years ago, we did a series of stories about climate change and how we can battle the changing climate and its effect on agriculture. And what you're going to find is floating lettuce.
Okay.
The lettuce lives off the water instead of the soil. It's wild. All right. It's like it's not kale. I can't remember, bib lettuce. And it's all just floating. And you're going to walk in there and go, okay, somebody explain this to me, because you think that all the nutrients are in the soil, but it turns out it can be in the water too.
That's cool.
Yeah, hydroponic. If I remember correctly, I'm old, but I do remember. I think I recall, and I think you're going to be pretty blown away.
Okay, all right, I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
Just wanted to say hi.
I'm glad you did.
Give you a comment, real life. You're doing a great job.
So are you, sir. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Yeah, love it. I forgot to turn the on-air light on too, but hey, good to see you, Steve. And so here's what's going on. Here's your 10-day, and let's see here. David, I don't have enough time. I don't sit here and talk about the whole idea of what happens and how it's become modern verbiage, and we try to analyze polar vortex and splits, and it is what it is. The weather's going to do what the weather's going to do, and no, I don't have a comment on it. And you asked that yesterday, and I skipped by it. Gregory asks, and I think you might have asked this on social media as well. Any plowable snow in the 7-day? I'll say this, Gregory. You can't take the plow off. You did ask me this on X. So, and I said no. First of all, it's still February. March averages 10 inches of snow, and I'm not saying we're going to have above average or below average snowfall. But the minute you take your plow off, you're completely jinxing us, and we will end up getting crushed at some point. Just because we could get really warm mid-month doesn't mean it crashes, later in the month. We don't know. So you can't take the plow off. You might need it Sunday morning. So if you watch the feed, you know that I mentioned the fact that it could be a plowable, hey, we plow when there's 2 inches of snow on the ground now. I understand. So yeah, don't take it off yet. Love the weather. Hey, George, good morning to you. We'll be bike riding before you know it. Snow, sun, and all. I feel like I'm back in Iowa this winter. Well, that's interesting, Mitch, because I think it's been worse than a Midwest winter. That's what Alexis kind of says, because she grew up in Missouri. Bob, the Connecticut River Valley will have pool its normal river flooding season and help crops grow this year with wet ground. I don't know if I get the question. Yes, there will be moisture in the Connecticut River Valley. It could be too much. I know it does help, the soil and the crops and stuff, but this might be taking it to another level. Hey, Steve, good morning to you. How well has your hometown done with snow this year? Are they above average, Dave asks? They got to be very close. I think they're close. It's come in big fits and bursts. I think they're at around 110 inches, and I think average is 120, 125. So they're close to normal. But remember, that's a 30 or 40-year average. And the last 7-8 winters have been totally lame, and they love their snow up there. They really do. So this has been much more seasonal for them to get over 100 inches of snow. For us, it would be historic and record-breaking. So let's see. I'll be shoveling out my downspouts. Yeah, good idea. Talk to a roofer about getting the lower parts of your roof. There are some roofers out there, and I don't think they're just trying to drum up business, but it's better to get all the snow off your roof, because with the melting and refreezing, you can get ice dams almost anywhere on your roof. So just you want to ask an expert. Okay, just because I'm not one. You're welcome, Debbie. I'm going to probably work on my downspouts too, because you got to have someplace for the water to go so it doesn't go into your foundation and basement. Shannon says, I see rumblings about a warm up. I hope it is gradual and not all at once. I'm scared to get my hopes up too. Yeah, I know. I showed you that graphic, Shannon, before you said that. And I hope it's not too rapid either, because again, that could be really quite an issue. Okay. Without being dramatic and jumping up and down, screaming and yelling. If the models are sniffing out what would really be like a March heat wave, it would be bad. Okay. Really bad. What's going on for Tuesday, Rachel? I think I went through that pretty clearly. Maybe I answered your question, but it does look like at some point Tuesday or Wednesday, a wintry mix of snow and sleet seems possible. Because it's 5-6 days away, the timing is kind of hard to nail down, but let's say Tuesday or Wednesday, but probably not both. There can be a wintry mix. Good morning, Teresa. Nice to see you. D says, good morning from West Hartford. D, if you yell real loud, I might be able to hear you, because I'm in West Hartford too. Time for coffee. Yeah, that was weird. Some people say yawns are not a factor of being tired. It's just an oxygen deficiency, which is weird, but I've heard that before growing up. Gloria says, get some rest. Oh yeah, I'm feeling good. Yesterday was an extremely busy day, so I'm allowed. Yes, good morning. Confirm, Bob is Team Euro. David, I've been saying that forever, but I try to play Switzerland when it comes to computer models. Robert, it was very icy this morning. Good morning to you. It's not icy now. Temperatures are moving up. Steve just mentioned it feels great. We could literally have, let's look at the 10-day together. It's right up there on the screen. 19, 42, 27, 49, 30, 35, 12, 7, 27, 11, 36. You know what that is? That is a melt and refreeze cycle personified. We could probably have areas of black ice where puddles become ice. Not as widespread as this morning because we had precipitation last night. But we could have it, it can happen almost the entire month of March. As long as there's a water source, being a snowbank, there can be ice. Okay, let's just put that in your brain, all right? John says, the other day you referenced the old red skies in the morning adage. Is that pure sailor folklore, or is there any meteorological validity to it? It's a bit of both, John. And John asks some of the most thoughtful questions in the history of Facebook Live. I want you to think about it like this. The sun rises in the east. Where do our storms come from? They generally come from the west. As the clouds ahead of a storm come into our canopy, our sky, and they come across our sky and the sun comes up, when they meet, like yesterday morning, there was a beautiful sunrise in Mystic before it snowed. Pink or red sky in the morning, sailor take warning, because it shows a pending storm, right? Sometimes wispy high clouds are out ahead of a big nor'easter, and you get a glow in the morning sky. So sailor take warning because there's an approaching storm. What type? Who knows? Doesn't matter. Red sky in the evenings. Wait, red sky at night, which makes no sense at all. Sailor's delight. That's because a storm would be leaving as the clouds move from west to east. The setting sun bounces off the clouds, creates a red and orange sky. The clouds leave, clear skies, sailor's delight. So red sky in the morning, sailor take warning does have some validity, but it's also folklore. It's not something you can, it's not written in stone. But what an interesting question, John. You're always welcome here with your thoughtful questions. Wow, Neil. And Neil is one of the ones that lives along the Connecticut River. If you can't see the question, day 30, 1 month, the Connecticut River not flowing at the surface. Doesn't need rapid melt. Yeah, Neil, that is certainly the word coming from folks that live down your way. Anywhere, from, especially Middletown South, but in Middletown North, some of those farmlands. And I don't like it. I don't want to even think about that. I wish they would eliminate the word Hartford, which covers. George, if you're talking about this graphic, well, okay, let's just say this graphic. It blocks Connecticut, but we have to label it because some people don't know where Connecticut is. So when I put it into motion, you can still see the sensible weather coming and going. So what's it matter if it's covered? I never understand some comments, and that's one comment I'll never understand. You can see the weather coming and going, the snow, ice, and rain in that European forecast model. And even if we go back and look at the close-up one, you can still see the state, right? You still see what's going on. So we label it because there's people that don't know where Connecticut is on a map. It's just fact. We've done research. Speaking of college basketball, how about them Huskies? Yeah, Roger, what a win. So I missed the Tuesday forecast. Still dicey. 8 a.m. flight out of Bradley. Chris, stay tuned. Yeah, there could be something. I mean, it's way out there. It's Thursday morning. I wouldn't change flights yet, but stay tuned. There's going to be some sort of messy weather Tuesday and or Wednesday. I probably answered that question right after you asked it. I'm not mad. Yeah, Jen, you don't live on the river. Just saying, I know, but there's things we can have and things we shouldn't get. 70s to near 80 in March is something we shouldn't get. It's just going to be too much water. Too much water. The spring freshet on Connecticut River will be epic. A lot of people don't know what that means, Neil, but that's fine. It's definitely going to be an epic mud season, says Jen. I agree that, and daylight saving time, because right now we're in Eastern Standard Time. So daylight, why do we say daylight savings in Eastern Standard? There's it's not daylight standard time. The whole thing's perplexing. Let's get rid of daylight saving or standard. Greg says, we've had 55 inches of snow in Hamden this year. This is the most, I think, since 2015. I'm satisfied as a snow lover. Well, good. I'm glad, Greg. Love your weather reports and banter, says Lisa. I start my mornings always with you and the team. Absolutely no jinxing us. Mother Nature is already got a knot in her pants. That's funny. Good morning, Hank. Yeah, Hank's lawnmower can type. It's an amazing thing. I appreciate these live streaming weather videos. It's cool to get an in-depth look on how you determine the forecast. Thanks for everything you do, and always remember to ignore the online trolls. Thanks, Eric. I try my best. Melt, baby, melt. Lawnmowers are calling me, says Hank. Hank and all of his friends better sharpen up those blades. Tired of snowblowers, I bet. And I'm not crazy. I smell spring. Well, Lisa, you're not crazy. March starts Sunday, and I believe a day like today, you can smell it, feel it. The sun feels warmer each and every day. It gets a little higher in the sky each and every day. The days get longer each and every day. That's called progress, and we are making it. You can really feel it out there on a day like today, but you're not crazy. You're not crazy at all. We love having you here, Lisa. And yes, so with that, another look at your 10-day forecast. And Sunday morning, there could be there could be some snow Saturday night and Sunday morning. Keep that in mind. We'll have more on that tomorrow. Tuesday and or Wednesday, a wintry mix that probably starts as snow and flips over to crud is possible, and maybe even to rain. And then it's quiet or Thursday, but then the week, there's these little waves, these little ripples, these fudge ripples of low pressure that can bring some showers here by next weekend. But again, everybody should know when you go from left to right on this particular 10-day forecast and any extended forecast, the confidence and accuracy goes down. It's called math, probabilities, possibilities. The further you go out into the future, models that simulate the future are going to become more inaccurate. And it's more of an outlook. Once you get past Monday, it's not a forecast really, it's an outlook. It's a possibility, and we deal in probabilities. So that's what it is. Okay. And that is your 10-day forecast. All right. So with that, we will bam, full screen. We'll wrap things up here at 10:30 on a Thursday. It is beautiful outside. I recommend shaking off the cabin fever, doing some ice and snow management if you can. My wife told me I have to because I was pretty tired Monday. I didn't get the path down to bare pavement, and then the clipper put down another 2 inches yesterday. So we've got this slushy, icy mess on our walkway and our driveway. So today I'm going to spend some time doing that. Just going to get down to bare pavement and deal with the little puddles of water and ice as they develop. And they will, because the snowpack is extensive and we are going to melt it eventually. It just matters how fast. Okay, that's my last thought of the day. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you for stopping by, putting your trust in moi, and we'll be back in the same space, the Weather Lab, tomorrow. As I always like to say at the very end, and I'll take it one step further. Actually, two things. My plan for tomorrow, and I'm going to work on this today, and I think we could all do this. We need a new fire pit at my house. So I'm going to snow blow a big circle, and I'm going to clear it off the grass. And in the middle of that grass mud circle, I'm going to put a fire pit and 4 Adirondack chairs. And tomorrow in the sun and the 42-degree temperatures, I'm going to get some firewood and I'm going to have a fire. I'm not worried about brush fires. It'll be contained in my fire pit. And it's Friday afternoon. So what do adults do on Friday afternoons and Friday evenings? They enjoy maybe a stress-relieving soda pop. And that's my plan for tomorrow. My wife will be ecstatic. So that's what I'm going to do today. So that's that. When you're out and about today, do something kind. Go into a coffee shop, buy the coffee for the person behind you. You can afford it. You can do that. You get to a 4-way stop, wave the other person. Go ahead. I'm in no rush. Let's be in less of a rush today. And at some moment in time today, just do something kind. That's my message for the day. Bye-bye.